Hello everybody, my name is Rachel and welcome to my channel Kalanati. Today I was going to do a wrap-up of what I've been reading so far in August, but as you might be able to tell from my voice, I'm still recovering from a cold, and when I talk too much I start coughing a lot. So I decided to do a quick TBR for two back-to-back readathons dedicated to translated works, which I am going to do. I've actually started this because I'm late and one of them has already begun. So the first one is the Women in Translation Readathon, which goes from August 25th to the 31st, and the second is the Translate-a-thon round 2, which I think runs from September 2nd to 9th. And I will link the announcement videos for both of those down below. There are reading challenges for both of them as well, but I'm not really as focused on those. I'm just using these as prompts to get through a large chunk of the translated works I have on hand. So for the Women in Translation Readathon, I don't have as many options for this. I tend to read books by women that are translated pretty quickly, so I don't have a lot of them hanging around. I've decided to begin my reread of the Fruits Basket manga series by Natsuki Takaya. I'm going to start it during this first readathon, but I'm going to continue it through the second one as well. There are 23 volumes of this, and I've already reread these first two. I don't think I'll reread the entire thing over the next 2 weeks, but I will make a really good dent in it. And these are also translated by women, by sisters who are called Alethea and Athena Nibley, which I never noticed before. Apparently they've translated a lot of manga. Then the only other physical work by a woman that I have is this big collected fiction of Elena Kron, who is a Finnish SFF writer. I've read like 1 or 2 short stories by her and loved them, which is where I ended up finding out about this humongous like 800-page omnibus. I believe there are a couple of novels in here, some shorter fiction, and then some excerpts from longer works that haven't been fully translated. So I'm not entirely sure what I will start reading out of this. Let me find the table of contents. Tainaron and Datura are, I think, 2 novels that I've had my eye on, so I may begin with one of those. Even though this is one book, I'm going to count the novels separately on Goodreads because that's just how I do things with omnibuses. And then the other 2 books that I have lined up for the Women in Translation Readathon are from the library. I have The Emissary by Yoko Tawada. This is me kind of going out on a limb. I'm not sure if this is exactly speculative fiction. It sounds a little bit like science fiction dystopia, but it's also described as being like wickedly funny. I'll see about that. I've read one other thing by Tawada, which is Memoirs of a Polar Bear, and I really didn't like it, but the library had this one and I've been kind of curious about it, so we'll see. And then after that I have the Summer book, I think that's what it's called, by Tove Jansson, which I believe that this one probably meets one of the challenges for this first readathon, which is like read a book about childhood. It's about a young girl, I assume over a summer. At some point I knew what this was about because Yamini from The Skeptical Reader recommended it in a video a long time ago, but I've been waiting to get a copy of it for a long time. So between those books and, you know, tons of Fruits Basket manga to reread, I'm pretty much set for the Women in Translation Readathon. And then the Translate-a-thon begins right after that with a short break. And all these other things I have to select from are by men. Oh goodness, my dog is complaining. Ava, come here! She's complaining because there are probably dogs walking by the house. Where was I? Translate-a-thon. The remaining books that I have to choose from, I own copies of all of them. You've seen most of them before. So the first 5 are the ones from Haikasuru that I just hauled in my Worldcon book haul a couple of days ago. So these are an anthology of 3 Japanese stories: Sisyphean Harmony, The Ouroboros Wave, and The Next Continent. I will probably begin with Sisyphean. It's the biggest out of the lot, and I expect it's gonna be super weird, and I'm just really curious about it. And then the other three, I have 3 Messages and a Warning, which is an anthology edited by Eduardo Jimenez Mayo and Chris N. Brown. Very interested in reading this now because it's translated Mexican speculative fiction, which I heard about at Worldcon. So this will probably be the next thing I pick up after Sisyphean. And then the remaining 2 things that I have in physical form are 2 by Arkady Boris Strugatsky. I have The Doomed City and Hard to Be a God. And I really want to read one of these. It'll probably be Hard to Be a God because I've heard more about it, and well, it's shorter. And the last thing that I can read, because I have a copy of it, is Lithium 6 by Risto Isomaki, who is another Finnish author. And I started this book before and didn't get very far into it before I wandered off to do other things, so I guess I'd like to restart it, but I'd rather work on my physical stack of books first. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I will be reading other things, non-translated things, over the next 2 weeks as well, but I want to use these 2 readathons as kind of, you know, motivating me to get through more of these. Reading translated works is one of my reading goals or challenges for the year, and I need to do a little bit of catch up on that because I'm still a bit behind my 10% goal. So that's pretty much it. Let me know if you're going to be participating in one or the other or both of these readathons, and I'll be back hopefully in a couple of days with like a wrap up or a review or something for you. And until then, bye.